Yeah, there is not a lot left out here, and
What really happened to the Jack family on that fateful night in 1989?
this family did not have any.
Their mysterious disappearance still haunts Prince George,
Your whole life burned up here.
and the chilling truth may never be known. Don't miss this. On the night of August 2nd, 1989, something happened that would forever change the town of Prince George. As the town drifted into a peaceful sleep, the Jack family, Ronald, Doreen, and their two young sons, Russell and Ryan, stepped out of their home into the unknown. By morning, they were gone. No trace. No explanation. What could have caused an entire family to vanish without a trace? For the people of Prince George, it seemed impossible. This small, quiet town was the kind where doors were left unlocked, where neighbors were close, and where everyone knew each other. The Jacks weren't famous, nor were they wealthy. They were just an ordinary family trying to get by. But in the dead of night, they disappeared into thin air. What had happened that night? No one could understand how, in a place like Prince George, an entire family could simply vanish. The town was left with only questions. What was the fate of the Jack family? Would anyone ever know? Their disappearance would haunt the town for years, creating a chilling mystery that would be remembered for decades. The Jack family was like many others in Prince George, simple, hardworking, and devoted to each other. Ronald Jack, at just 26 years old, was a quiet, determined father. He worked tirelessly to provide for his wife, Doreen, and their two sons, Russell, 9, and Ryan, 4. Despite struggling with a limited income, the family was close-knit, finding comfort in one another. Doreen, also 26, dedicated herself to caring for their children, keeping their home warm with love. The boys, full of energy and curiosity, always found ways to explore and create joy in their everyday life. While the Jacks faced challenges, they did so together, bound by love and the dream of a better future. They were not wealthy, nor did they seek fame, but they were known in their community as decent, kind-hearted people. On the surface, their lives appeared ordinary, but that would soon change in the most unimaginable way. The quiet town of Prince George would soon become the backdrop for a mystery that would haunt it for years to come. The events leading to the Jack family's disappearance began like any other day. Ronald spent part of his day searching for work in Prince George, trying to make ends meet. Life had been tough, and finding steady employment was always a challenge. But then, Ronald met a man at a local bar who promised him a solution. This man, claiming to have connections with the logging camp up north, offered Ronald a job. Not just a job for him, but for Doreen as well, with accommodations for their children. The offer seemed too good to be true. A fresh start for the family with decent pay and a secure job. The man even promised that they could all stay together at the camp, away from the struggles of their daily life. For the Jack family, this seemed like the break they had been waiting for. Ronald, eager to provide a better future, didn't hesitate. He went home, told Doreen about the opportunity, and they made the decision to leave that very night. But little did they know, this perfect offer might have been the beginning of a horrifying mystery. As August 2nd, 1989, turned into the early hours of the morning, the Jack family made their way out of their home. The night was warm, with the scent of pine filling the air, and the streets of Prince George were quiet, settling in for another peaceful night. At around 1:30 a.m., a vehicle pulled up outside their home. A truck driven by the man who had offered Ronald the job. The family climbed into the truck, unaware that this would be the last time they would be seen. Ronald, Doreen, and their two young sons, Russell and Ryan, packed a few essentials and set off into the unknown. The truck disappeared into the darkness, leaving no sign of where it was headed. The Jack family was gone without a trace. The town of Prince George would soon awaken to the shocking reality that an entire family had vanished in the middle of the night, leaving behind nothing but questions. The mystery of what happened to the Jacks would begin, but the answers would be elusive. As the days passed and the Jack family failed to return, concern began to grow among their neighbors. At first, no one thought much of their absence. The family had mentioned the job offer, so it seemed possible they had simply gone off to start their new life. But as the days turned into a week, their silence became troubling. Ronald's mother, who had always kept in touch with her son, grew increasingly worried. It was out of character for Ronald to not check in, especially with her. Her growing unease led her to contact the authorities and report the family missing. The police in Prince George quickly became involved, but at first, there was little to go on. The Jack family had left voluntarily, and there was no obvious sign of foul play. Still, the longer the family stayed missing, the more alarming the situation became. An official investigation began, but the police found themselves facing a huge challenge. The family's destination, the mysterious logging camp, was in a remote area, and no one could confirm its existence. The man who had offered the job was also nowhere to be found, making it difficult for the police to get any answers. With no leads, the search grew more urgent, and the town's fear deepened. As the search for the Jack family continued without any significant leads, rumors and theories began to swirl around Prince George. The idea that an entire family could vanish without a trace seemed impossible, so people began speculating about what might have happened. One theory suggested that the family had been targeted, possibly because of Ronald's indigenous heritage. Some believed the man who offered the job had ulterior motives, luring the family into a remote location to do them harm. This theory suggested that the job offer was simply a ruse to get them out of town, where they could be easily overpowered and disappear. Another theory proposed a tragic accident. With the rugged terrain of British Columbia and its dense forests, it was possible that the family's vehicle had gone off the road into an area so remote that no one could find it. But this theory raised more questions than answers. Why had no one heard from the family? Some even suggested that the Jack family could have fallen victim to a more sinister fate, taken by people with dark plans. Yet, despite all the theories, no concrete evidence surfaced, and the investigation remained stalled, leaving the town gripped with uncertainty and fear. Theories were plenty, but the truth seemed out of reach. As weeks turned into months, the case of the Jack family's disappearance began to cast a dark shadow over Prince George. The town, once peaceful and close-knit, was now filled with fear and suspicion. The thought that an entire family could vanish without a trace seemed more and more unsettling with each passing day. While the police continued their investigation, leads were few, and the mystery surrounding the Jacks only deepened. No one could explain what had happened that night. Was it a random act of violence, or something much more calculated? Could the family have encountered foul play during their journey to the supposed logging camp, or had they fallen victim to something more sinister? In the absence of answers, rumors began to grow. Some believed the Jack family had been taken by force. Others thought they might have encountered an accident in the wild forests of British Columbia. Still, many in Prince George felt that something more than just an accident was at play. With each passing month, hope began to fade. The town had never experienced a mystery like this before, and as time went on, it became increasingly clear that the truth might never be uncovered. What had happened to the Jack family? The mystery seemed to haunt the town, leaving behind only questions and the chilling uncertainty of their fate. Years have passed since the Jack family vanished, but the mystery remains as haunting as ever. Despite occasional attempts to reignite the investigation, the case has never been solved, and the town of Prince George continues to grapple with the unanswered questions surrounding that fateful night. What happened to Ronald, Doreen, Russell, and Ryan? Did they ever reach the supposed logging camp, or did something terrible happen on the way? The man who offered them the job remains a key figure in the mystery, but his true intentions are still unknown. Theories about their disappearance continue to circulate, but without any concrete evidence, they remain speculative. Was it a targeted attack, an accident, or a sinister plot? With each passing year, the answers seem more elusive, and the pain of the family's disappearance lingers. The case of the Jack family highlights a larger issue in Canada, particularly within the Indigenous community, where missing persons cases often don't receive the attention they deserve. As efforts to address this crisis continue, the Jack family story serves as a stark reminder of the many questions left unanswered. Their disappearance may remain a cold case, but the mystery of what happened that night will never truly fade. The Jack family's story is a real-life horror that has captivated and terrified those who have heard it, and it will forever be one of Canada's most chilling unresolved mysteries. Still hooked? Don't let this mystery slip away. Subscribe now and stay tuned for our next video. The most brilliant criminals in history. You won't want to miss the shocking secrets we'll uncover.